And welcome back, YouTube, to another episode of Life in Prison. My name's Zach, and for all the ones that already have done it, I appreciate your support and hitting that subscribe button. But for the ones that are just kind of chilling and undecided, what are you doing? Go ahead, hit that subscribe button. You know you want to anyways. Hit that subscribe button. Then hit the bell notifications button also so you're first informed when I upload. Living in the hole. Life in the hole in prison is completely different than living on the yard. And reason being is because whenever you're in the hole, think of a room that's 7 by 12 feet big, alright? You have a bunk, you have sometimes a desk, and a toilet. That's the only thing that's in your cell. In some circumstances, you know, there's individuals that either killed COs, killed cops, killed multiple inmates, where they're never going to get out the hole. But for the ones that do, you know, have the opportunity to visit segregation or the shoe, or however you want to call it, the hole, whatever, the only type of communication you have with other people, and every place is a little bit different. Some places when you go to the hole, you might have cells facing each other. Sometimes you might have cells that are all facing the same direction and you're just facing a brick wall. So if you're living in the hole and you don't have anybody across from you, most time you just get the yelling and stuff, and that's the only time you can really communicate, because unless you have a job and you clean the pod during the day, you're not getting out of your cell. The only time you're getting out of your cell is to go and shower. That's it, and that's every other day. You're gonna get out your cell every other day. That's it. Rec, most of the time people don't go to rec just because they don't want to sit in the rec yard by themselves. Sometimes they'll put you with other people, but most of the time you're going there by yourself. So it's a lot of time for self-reflection. And when I mean that it's self-reflection, it's you can go crazy in the hole. In Huttonsville, they have 2 tiers. First level, go up the steps, second level. And all these cells are facing each other. So it's a whole lot easier to communicate because you can look at your cell and see about 15 different cells. You know what I mean? You know, it's 15 different people right there. So up there you learn it's sign language, but it's like prison sign language. So there's a few letters that are a little off than the conventional, sign language. It's A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and then Z. Let's see, I did 5 years altogether straight, 5 years straight. And within those 5 years, I did more than 2 years in the hole. Sitting back there signing your life away, that's more or less what you're doing. That's the only way you can communicate. If you yell, there's so many other people in this pod yelling, you really can't hear. Another fun part about being in a hole is you got a lot of door warriors. And a door warrior, what that is somebody who gets behind a door, kind of like, think about Facebook gangsters or like Twitter gangsters, you know what I'm saying? You got a lot of people that talk big game behind a screen or a door, but when time comes and it's time to hit, they're the ones getting knocked out. Calling people bitches and whores and rats and shit. There's a lot of that too. Like, you never want to call someone a rat in prison. And if you do, you better make sure, and let me emphasize this. If you ever call anybody a rat, make sure you have it in black and white. And I mean paperwork. Better have paperwork, because if you're going out of your way to say that someone else is an informant or a rat or a snitch, whatever it may be, you better have it in black and white, because if you don't, then you're going to be getting fucked up. You're behind those doors. Some people are back there for a very long time. Some people are back there for a short period of time. No matter the length, though, people don't forget what you say. So there's been plenty of times where these whores, bitches, and rats words will be getting thrown around behind these doors, and someone might forget that they said it. They hit the yard. The moment they touch down that yard, it's chitty chitty bang bang, and that's it. Some people cannot handle that, and I mean they snap. There's this dude named Blam. I was up at Huttonsville with him, and he ended up getting shipped up to Mount Olive. By the time I got shipped up there, he'd already been up there in the Q's program, the quality of life, for about 2 years. This was a young 22-year-old man who was normal before he went back to the hole. Now when I say he's talking to himself, like, there'd be times that I'd sit there and I'd talk to myself. I'd try different voices. You get bored. You need to keep your mind going. He really lost his mind. Like, he was talking to another individual. He would save his urine in bottles. He'd save his fecal matter in bottles. Like, he really lost it. And it's sad because prison's supposed to be for reform. Now, none of these COs, most of the counselors, it's not about reform. When you get to prison, it's not like what you see on TV. The COs aren't trying to help you, make yourself better. Prison's literally a breeding ground for criminals and convicts. You go into prison knowing 20%, and you come out of prison knowing 90% of criminal activity. There's a lot of creepers, and there's a lot of evil people. I've met some. You ever hear those stories where they say, some of them I've said, like, that's an evil man. If the devil were to take on a human form, that's what it would look like. There's a few individuals in prison, multiple individuals in prison, where you look at that man and you know that if the devil's not in him, something else of a negative power and energy is, because you meet people that killed their family members, ate them, killed crazy. Think of anything and everything, and those types of people are locked up. That, misery loves company. It's crazy, but whenever people are about to get out of even the hole and go back to the yard, people get angry and upset because now they don't have someone to talk to. That's why I said you always want to be careful who you hang around, because some people don't want to go in the right direction, and they will hold you at their level just so that they have someone else there for companionship. Once you're ADSIG, though, you actually get a lot of freedom, because you can actually order food, you can get your shoes. I know up at Mount Olive, if you're on the CUBES program, Quality of Life, then you actually get your TV. Now, you have to do classes, but you get your TV. Some people that are back there, they have their Xbox. Like, yeah, a lot of people didn't believe me, but in prison, you can get either a Sony Explode boombox, which it hits. You can get a PS2, you can get an Xbox 360, you can get a CD player, you can get a Walkman tape player. Now they have tablets. So some people don't mind staying back there in the hole, and there's some people that they may play hard, but what they would do is they'd do a lot of dumb stuff just to go the hole to stay back there. They didn't like being on the yard for some reason. They might have said something to the wrong person. They might be scared, or they might owe money. So they just kind of live in the hole. Those are the ones that kind of slowly lose their mind. You can tell whenever you talk to them that they're kind of losing it. They're not really used to other human activity face to face. Signing through a door is different from talking and being beside somebody. Couple of other ways you can communicate in the hole is, other than signing to people, is there's air vents in the cells, and the air vent is connected to the one either above you or below you. And you can stand up on your bunk and stand there and talk to whoever's above you, or if you plunge out the toilet, it's like a direct passageway to the cell below you, beside you, and above you, and then like this. You know what I'm saying? So you can talk, you can hold a couple of conversations. People fish through the toilet too. If the person above you unclogs their toilet and then you do the same thing, they can take fishing line with a nice little weight, fingernail clippers, the little handles on the fingernail clippers, because they slide easily. So they tie that off and end of the line and throw it down the toilet, and then you'd be able to get a hook and pull it in. Now you can fish from toilet to toilet. Now mind you, the toilets in prison and most prison cells are cleaner than toilets at your house. And the reason why I say that is because think about you having to live in the same 5-foot space as your toilet. You don't want to have old pee get crusted up and smell, because now your cell's going to smell. You really don't want to have a pee-soaked cell. Like that's disgusting. Some people would live like pack rats. Like, people would really live like pack rats. Plus, in the hole, you don't have to worry about human contact, so some people just wouldn't shower, like, at all. Like, it'd be shower day, they would pass it off. Dirtball, you don't want to do that. Go ahead, clean your butt, like, go ahead and do that. Around 5:30, 6 o'clock is chow. So the lights will come on about 4:30 at Huttonsville. Lights will come on. You know chow's getting ready to come. It's not getting ready to come. About an hour and a half later, it comes. So how you know chow's coming is you start hearing these metal doors, because they have these little bean slots. It's called a bean hole. Little bean slots in the door. So the door opens and shuts, and you got this little tray about this big to fit, meals through. So all you hear is the COs start coming on, locking them. Dink, 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 all the way around the pod, and there's 60 cells. So mind you, at 5 in the morning, all you hear in these metal doors, dink, so you know it's coming. You know chow's coming, so you are up. So chow comes, you got 15 minutes to eat your food, and when they come back to pick up these trays, your tray better be out there. You're not keeping these trays. You're not keeping no silverware and keeping no spoon. This tray better be out that door, and if you refuse to give your tray up, they're going to come in there and get it. And they will get it. So don't try to keep it. If you happen to not wake up and your food is still sitting there at the door in the bean hole, then they'll pick it right back up. You're not going to eat breakfast, and then you'll have to wait for lunchtime. So normally how the hole works is when you first come in, whether it be 15, 30, 60, 90, 100, however many days, after you go to court, you go to kangaroo court. That's what determines if you go to the hole or not, if you get hold time. So you can either have book privileges or no book privileges, and book privileges is the one thing that will save you in the hole. You have the opportunity to get 2 books a week. Now, 2 books a week isn't enough. I've read well over 1,000 books. Easily well over 1,000 books during my time of incarceration, and having 2 books a week in your cell, even if the books are 500, 600, 700 pages a piece, when you start getting into these things, not only do you want to kind of get an escape whenever you're in prison, but now you're in the hole by yourself 24 hours a day. You need an escape. What you can do is you can kind of trade off books and stuff to the people that are in cells around you. I'll get into that. I'll get into how you end up doing that here in a little bit. But book privileges, make sure you always ask for book privileges whenever you go to kangaroo court with the magistrate, because if not, it'll be a very, very, very long whole time. What I would do after breakfast, honestly, I would go back to sleep. So my routine from the hole was I would get up for breakfast, I would drink my milk from the breakfast, drink my juice, and then save the rest of my food. Wake up around 11:40, 12 o'clock for lunchtime. So now I'm gonna eat my breakfast, take my lunch that just came, save that, put that back, all right, drink my juice for lunchtime. Then I get up and start getting myself ready. I mean, ready to go nowhere, but get myself ready, wash my face, shower if you want to take a shower before shower comes, take a bird bath, strip down, get a, soapy washcloth, and then, bird bath. Brush my teeth, brush my hair and stuff, and then start getting up for the day. Around that time, it's when everyone else starts getting up. So now you're at the window, flagging people down, starting to sign to them, starting to get the day started. Sign for a couple hours, read a little bit, and then by 3:30 comes, then I start working out. I'll do an hour of whatever it may be, legs, arms, and in the hole, how you get away with working out is they give you a laundry bag, you get your mat, you get your state clothes, 2 shirts, 2 boxers, 2 of everything. You get a pillow, then you get a jacket. Well, if you wanted to work out though, you have no weights. You can't get a trash bag to put water in. So now you have to substitute. So you would roll your mat up and stick it in this giant laundry bag. So now it looks like a punching bag, more or less. And then you put all your other clothes inside that to make it a little bit heavier. So now you've got this long, big laundry bag with your mat in it, and then you would lift that to do arms or shoulders or whatever you wanted to do. I would work out for an hour before dinner time. So by the time I got done working out, here's dinner. I'm going to go ahead and eat my lunch that I saved, drink my milk that came with dinner, and then save my dinner for later on. But once you get AdSeg, once you've been there for longer than 60 days, that's when you have the opportunity to order chips, tuna, sodas, candy bars, Zuzus, Wham Whams, the whole shebang, your Zing Zings, your Dong Dongs, anything and everything. You can now order. It's a select few things, but you can still order food now. So until that time, you're going from meal to meal. So you don't want to go hungry in the hole, because if you're hungry in the hole, you can drink water to get full. That's how you get full in the hole if you're hungry. Drink water. I'm hungry. Drink some water. So, some things that you would do to keep your mind busy in the hole. So, to get anything, and I mean anything, if you wanted anything, if you wanted a magazine, if you wanted a book, if you wanted some cigarettes, if you wanted a letter, if you wanted to draw something, if you need a pen, anything at all, what you would have to do is, we call it fishing. So what you would do is you take your state issued shirt, your whole jumpsuit, or towels. So what we would do is you would take a towel, right? Take an old towel, and you get one of these strings, like so, right? And just keep pulling it and pulling it and pulling it, and then go all the way down. And just keep going and going and going and going and going. So when you have one of these that's really, really long, okay, since this is kind of weak, you would take the seam all the way down to the other end. Get another one. Now you tie that off somewhere and then start braiding it. Braiding it all the way back. So now you've got, you know, the best fishing line was from the jumpsuits, from the seams of the jumpsuits. They were orange. The jumpsuits were bright, so they were very, very bright, so you could see them. So what we'd do is, after we get done braiding, 50, 60 feet of line of this fishing line where it's real strong, like really strong, you take an ink pen, bite off the top, and dump it all over the string, the orange string. Get a little bit of water, and then now it's black. So you've got this black fishing line, so when you're fishing out of your cell door, the COs can't see it from the bubble. You now need a weight to be able to move this thing. So what you wanted to do is you wanted to have something that was durable, that would slide, and that wouldn't be cheap and break. Get a bar soap, put a hole in the center of it, tie your line through the center of the soap, and then take like plastic or cardboard and wrap it around the soap and like tape it off. So now it can slide. You need something to pull the string. So it's a little bit harder if you're on the top tier, because in the center of all that is a big drop straight to the ground. So how you would fish things from top tier to top tier, say this person over here would throw out their line, all right? Then this person on this side would throw out their line, cross them up. Then you'd yank them so they'd lock. So now you pull it taut, so both lines go straight up. Now you've got this razor thin line from going from tier to tier. Now if the COs come in and they look up, they won't be able to see it because it blends in. So if someone would pull your line all the way into their cell, then they'd attach whatever it is. Now if you have a strong enough line, you could really start pulling a Harry Potter book, 700 to 800 pages. It's a big heavy book. It would be able to hold it. You'd be able to pull magazines. You'd be able to pull things of chili, 20-ounce soda bottles, like multiples at a time. There's been a few times where you look at your cell and all you see is just stuff floating across the tier. You don't see the wire, you just see random things floating and bobbing, going from tier to tier. Now, it's always the fun part, trying to get the food into your cell before the COs come in. Because if you're fishing, they're going to write you up for contraband. Because now you done had to destroy either your towel, your state blanket, your jacket, your state clothes. Something had to be destroyed to make this line. So now they're going to write you up for contraband, for having something you're not supposed to. They're going to write you up for destruction of state property, something you destroyed. And then they're going to hit you for contraband again for whatever you just pulled into your cell that's not supposed to be there. So, say for instance, you just pulled in a package your buddy told you to come get. There's been a few times where I've seen people get hit with knives or hit with tattoo guns and stuff. Hit with things they're not supposed to, and they didn't even know they was pulling it in their cell. That's the chance you take, though. There's only so many hiding spots you can do, especially when they run in on you. There was a couple times where if you're across from somebody and they get hit for fishing, there's been a few times where they'll come to your cell, strip search you to see if you'd brought anything in. What's going on in cell 3? Oh man, he's getting hit. He got caught fishing. You know what I'm saying? Now everybody's looking. They'll tell you to cuff up 3 times. They'll tell you to cuff up 3 times. If you don't cuff up 3 times, then they have this, it's called clear out. Think of a grenade canister. It's a little bit bigger though, but it's filled with mace. Alright? They'll pull the trigger, pop your bean hole, toss it in your cell, and then close the beanhole and just let it spew in your cell until you're ready to give up, more or less, because you can't breathe or see. Well, there's a few tricks to get around these things. So what we would do is you take a towel or a t-shirt, get it wet, like soaking wet, all right? Wrap it around your face like a mask. By then, have your toilet like unclogged. So what you do, you sit on a toilet and plunge it with your butt, more or less, and all the water would drain out. So now if you put a towel over the top of the toilet, there's a little suction area where it sucks stuff in. Normally that's how we end up smoking cigarettes in the cell, because it sucks the smoke straight into the sewer system and then it's gone. They normally go and get the riot gear. They get the shield, they get the long pokey stick, they get a beanbag gun, they get a taser, they get a bunch of goodies, and just, you know, if one doesn't work, they go to the next one, the next one. So within that time, clog your toilet up, put your towel over your door, get your mask ready, and wait to see what they come. So you'd also take your mat and stick your mat up over the door and covering that beanhole, because they have access to the beanhole. They can open that door and then throw things in there. But if you have this mat stuffed up against the door, they can't see in the door, so they're not going to come in. Then they can't stick anything in the beanhole because your mat is covering the beanhole itself, so they can't do anything like that. So they come back with their riot gear on, everything else. So I'm masked and ready for war. They have this long stick. They try to stick the stick in the beanhole and push the mattress away, so that gives them enough space to take this smoke bomb and throw it in your cell. So they're poking at me at the stick. They end up tossing this thing in my cell. So when this thing gets tossed in my cell, I'm ready for it, right? So I scoop it up, stick it in the toilet, stick a towel over the toilet, so now none of this orange death mist can get up out the toilet because it's all being sucked down. But what I didn't realize is the moment that I went away from the door to grab the smoke bomb and to stick down the toilet, even though my window was covered, they're still looking through the beanhole to see where this had landed. So as I'm bent over sticking this thing in the toilet, they used the stick to push me to get me away from the toilet, because when you first open these cell doors, the first thing on either the left or the right is the toilet and the sink, and then it goes farther than your bunk. So they were pushing me away from the door, alright? That time, I looked up. They had seen I was far enough away from the door, so they had popped the door open. But what I didn't realize is that they had the taser. Now, I'd only been tased once in my life. I've been sprayed and maced multiple times. That kind of sucks, because it's not that it really burns your eyes, it's that it burns your skin and you can't breathe. So by the time I turn around, I already see the CO coming up like this with their little red dot, and you can try to juke and move. You're in a cell that's 7 feet across. Actually, not even that, honestly, because the bunk sticks out about 3-4 more feet. So you've got this little narrow way. You're not going anywhere. You can try to juke and move. The moment these probes enter your body, unless you're one of these Hulk dudes, where, I mean, there's a few times I've seen guys eat a couple of these tasers. Now these are big dudes that are not high. I've seen other ones where obviously these people are cracked out of their mind and they can eat these tasers, but I mean like someone that's sober. I've seen a few people eat these things, but the moment these probes enter your body, it's like rigor mortis. You lock up and hope to God that your head doesn't hit anything sharp, because you're going straight down. So after I got tased, I smacked the ground. You see everything that's going on, but you can do literally nothing about it. So they run in, start kneeing me on my side, like I can't move anyway, so I don't know why you're doing all this extra stuff. Yeah, they end up messing me up. That was the last time I went in. first and last time I went, because it was fun, but you already know the ending is just you prolong it. Plus you back there in the hole and you get bored. Even if you about to get jacked up by the COs, sometimes you just really got to get that. It's like you get this built up anger and frustration and resentment and hate that, and you're in a very dangerous environment, that has to be released at some point in time. I had went in on the COs one time. The whole time I was there, I'd went in on them once. Well, technically for the riot, I mean, I kind of went in, but it wasn't like a one-on-one thing. So, me and another dog named Gigi, he's actually in, Gigi's in Virginia right now. He's facing a murder charge. They ended up finding a body that had been deceased for 3 months or so and was hidden in a refrigerator out at Diggs Landing. Yeah, that was my road dog. Me and Gigi, me and him did a lot of stuff together in prison. We did a lot of stuff, and outside on the streets, things happen also. So he started making knives back in the hole. He distributed the knives. I got one of them. So a CO made him mad and said the wrong thing. I want to say the CO called him a bitch. So mind you, whenever you're in prison, there's a few things you do not say. There's a few things you do not do. You never call someone out of their name, let alone disrespectful and saying things like punk, whore, bitch, faggot. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's things you absolutely do not say. So Gigi had broken out his window in his door. So just to give you an idea how big these windows are, they're about this wide. Alright, about 4 inches wide and about 3 feet tall. You know what I mean? They're not very big. He'd busted out his glass, okay? Busted completely out. Then he had taken a towel and stuck the towel up in the window. So now, whenever the COs walk by, if you have something blocking your window, they knock on your door, stand there, and wait for you to come to the door, remove the blind so that they can see into your cell. So with him having this towel up, the CO couldn't really see that the window was gone. So Gigi sat there, patiently waited for the CO to walk by. The moment the CO knocked on the door, Gigi knew he was staying right out in front of his door. He had one hand on the top of the towel like this. He pulled the towel down, threw his arm out the door, out the window. He ended up getting the CO here and up here. It didn't go deep. Yeah, the CO got hurt, but it wasn't something serious. He just wanted to let the CO know, I'm no punk. So, of course he got time added for that stuff, but this is the type of individual that Gigi was. So, I mean, technically, a lot of the individuals that were around me were like that. DMI is a predominantly white prison organization. Now, before I even got locked up, I hung out with a lot of dogs. A lot of older DMI members on the streets. They had already did their prison time and got out. So I was around a lot of this. Now, mind you, since it's a prison organization, you're not supposed to be involved unless you've done 2 years plus in prison. Plus you've got to more or less show that you want this for the rest of your life. Now, no, they don't beat you in. We don't do that. You would never put your hands on another brother unless they had violated and then they're out the door. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know why these other people would beat you up to bring you in, because anybody can get beat up. Doesn't mean you're tougher. It means you're going to pull the trigger. It means you're going to push a knife. Like, that means none of that. Okay, yeah, you got beat up to come in here and you had 6 people beat the crap out of you. Doesn't mean that you're... Anyways, so the moment I touched down in prison, people already knew who I was. The person who actually gave me my nickname was an old head dog, Ziggy. He gave me that nickname back in 2007 when I was on E-Pod in Eastern Regional. At the time, there was only one other black DMI member, and his name is Mike Corney. He's actually fighting a murder charge also. As I said, there's a lot of people that I associate myself with that have done some very violent things. You always want to be careful who you hang around with, because you don't want, if something were to pop off, you want to make sure that the people around you are ready for a situation. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to associate yourself with someone that is going to run away. You don't do that. You don't have to join a gang. You don't have to join an organization. You don't have to join this. You can be yourself. Now, mind you, I was still myself. I still am myself. I would never change who I am as an individual to fit in anywhere. But, and mind you, you don't need to be a part of something to survive in prison at all. Like, trust me, you really don't. Like, as long as you go in there as yourself, you'll be perfectly fine. And actually, it's easier time that way, because now, if you believe in people's morals and what they stand for and how they live life and how they want to prosper, knowledge is first and foremost for anything and everything. The more you know, the more power you hold. You know what I mean? So we're all about brotherhood, unity, and always trying to better ourselves along with our comrades. You know what I mean? People get a bad rap just because of the violent things that we do. As I said, sometimes people go looking for it, sometimes we don't. But if it comes to our laps, then we're going to go ahead and take care of the situation. Yes, we do move in packs, and yes, we will J you out. It boils down to respect, you know what I'm saying? Trust me, I can stand on my own 2 feet. You win some, you lose some. But you're going to remember my name and you're going to respect me. That's all I ask. Just respect me as I respect you. I hung out with everybody. Anybody, Hispanics, the whites, the blacks, like, I hung out with everybody. Just like on the streets, I get along with everybody. I don't have issues with people. I don't have enough time in my life to have an issue with somebody that's irrelevant to what's going on in my life. You know what I mean? So they kept hearing this white boy, white boy, white boy, but it didn't match the actual person. So I kind of got away with things for a while until things started clicking and people started talking and telling and stuff. Like, so now that I'm getting AdSeg, every time I go for AdSeg, they ask me, are you affiliated? No. But in the state of West Virginia, if they know that you're an active organization member, they're taking you to the hole. Like, when I tell you, anybody that's ever been in West Virginia prison system, they know that DMI, the name itself, is like a bad taste in the administrators' mouths, because we got a lot of young dudes that are dumb and they do a lot of dumb stuff. They do a lot of dumb stuff. I mean, I didn't pick and choose who these people were. The only thing I can do is make myself a better man. But we get a bad rap just because people do a lot of dummy mission stuff, A lot of people get beat up for no reason. A lot of people get stabbed for no reason. A lot of people get extorted for no reason. You don't want to do bad things to good dudes in prison, because it's hard to come by good people in prison. So you don't want to do something negative against those people, because now everyone's just kind of a turd bucket. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people get bad names, bad raps, as I said. Just because you're a part of this doesn't mean that that's who you are. You know what I'm saying? You can still be a good individual and want things better for your life, want things better for your brothers, want things better for your brother's family. Like, that's how I view things. I'm a part of a unit because we want to grow as a whole and then branch out. You know what I mean? That's what you should always want for yourself. Even if you're not a part of anything else, you should always want to do better for yourself and for your family. There's no difference at all. That the day you finally get released, you can have a game plan, but sometimes there might be roadblocks. No matter what happens, I want you to always keep your head up. No matter what. Metaphorically, you might be in a hole out here on the streets, opposed to being in, segregation in prison. Just realize that once you get out this hole, there's always a better and brighter future. But you're going to have to want it. Yeah, you might be short on rent this month, short on food this week. Try to figure out what had been the reason for you being short and doing the exact opposite so it doesn't happen again. I know people have better opportunities than others, but I just want you to realize that no matter what type of negative situation you're in, there's always a positive on the other side. You can do more if you want more. But to want more, you're going to have to do more. By that, I send my utmost love, loyalty, and respect. Keep y'all heads up and always stay positive. Have a good one.